Orange tea.
Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Jesse.
And Dan.
I'm Andrew.
This is a board game rundown.
Why do you look at me whenever I say I'm Andrew?
Because they love each other.
Because I'm Dan and you're Andrew.
Andrew.
Today we're going to review Everdell, the complete collection. Kind of.
Part one.
Part one.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we basically Andrew got his complete collection in. We wanted to play it. I think everybody at this table but Andrew had never played Everdell before.
What's Everdell?
Right. This is one of your favorite games, right?
Yes.
Okay,
I don't think it's the greatest game, but
No.
I think it's one of
Good.
the best products that I own.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, there's games that that are my favorite game that I would never say are the greatest game. It's just my favorite game.
Yeah.
But it's a game I've heard you talk a lot about. You have the complete collection. So those are the components that we will be talking about. We also are going to give the base game with nothing extra a rating at the end of this.
Right. We have not played with the expansions, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Which is why I think part one is a fair
Sure.
statement, because if we play future expansions, maybe once every week or two we'll release like, oh, here's how this game
Yeah,
goes
I think
with the...
as we get around and get the other expansions played, we'll come out and do more videos based on those.
Yeah.
And save it for components, but when we get to components, I would like for you to talk about the difference between your edition
Yes.
and what comes in the base game.
Yep.
Sound
for sure.
good?
Yep.
So Andrew, how do we play Everdell,
The base game.
the base game?
So if you have ever played Seven Wonders, this is very Seven Wonders friendly. It's kind of Seven Wonders plus you get some worker placement in it. There are two actions in this game. You can either play a card from your hand or the open shop here, or you place one of your workers onto any spot that has a paw. Certain areas can let everybody play, like 4 people can go to one spot, and some areas are closed off. So you either play a card or you play a worker, which gives you resources to play workers.
Cards.
If you can't do either of those, you advance your season. Advancing your season allows you to take more workers, and more workers allows all of your possibilities to really ramp up in the amount of things you can do in a specific season. So there are 3 seasons in the game. Once you're finished with all of your workers throughout all of the seasons, you are done. So theoretically, Jesse could keep playing for a few rounds while I have completed my entire game.
To no avail.
Yes, to no avail. We actually had a really tight first game. Tim won by 1 point, so I did not get the Bad Teacher Award.
Right.
Very proud of that. And
But we were all within 10 points.
and we were all within
very
10
close.
points. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a brief rundown of Everdell. I don't really want to teach how it's played because
We could
This
do
game
a video
is-
for that, but teaching it is, I mean, basically you now know how to play the game.
yeah,
Right.
this game is actually a few years old. I would say the wow factor to Everdell in 2022 is the complete collection, which a lot of people have received their package as we record this video. And this box is an absolute monster. I mean, I'm 6'3". Tim is hitting 5 foot, and
On a good day.
Yeah. And this thing is monstrous. It comes with every single expansion and 2 more expansions
ones.
that they were releasing with the Kickstarter, and a whole bunch of goodies as well, which we'll get to in the resource section. Yeah. So that is Everdell. It's extremely simple to teach if you are I guess you could say board game literate. If you've played, I guess you could say.
If you played Seven Wonders or Lost
Or-
Legends or even a general worker placement game, I think the only thing Seven Wonders comes into play is that there is a little tag on the building. So if you have a building, you might already be able to recruit a critter for free. It still takes your action, but you do get to take them and place them in your tableau.
Yep.
And you max out at 15 characters and constructions, right? Or
Yep.
buildings.
So once you have 15 cards in front of you, your city is full. So each card is either a building or a critter, and every building has a complementary critter. So for example, the school has the teacher, the university has the doctor, the innkeeper has the inn, and
It's all very straightforward, and it's very clearly marked on all the cards. Now, you might have to move or get close to look to see it, and it could be easy to forget. But it's not hard if you know it's there. Oh, yeah, I need to check and see if that's there. I mean, not overly complicated. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Something that stuck out to me the first time I played this game a few years ago is after the very first game, I remembered so many cards.
Yeah.
Like I remembered what each, like so many of the cards I played did, and I didn't even have the cards in front of me. I was like, wow, that card was so awesome or thematic, and it just kind of made sense.
They definitely streamlined the hell out of the most finicky part of the game, which is the tag thing, right?
Yes.
Like, again, so you're saying I just played for the first time, but in my head I can say monastery, monk, cemetery, undertaker, innkeeper, inn. Like I can do a lot of those, and so the next time I play,
Miner.
yeah. So next time I play, I can see the mine out, and I don't even have to look at the tags. I know, okay, if a miner comes up, I know what's going on. So that's true.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Do we want to go into components?
Let's go into components.
Crap.
Terrible.
Garbage components. These components are great. Now, I don't know what are normal for the, if I were
Yeah.
to go buy Everdell just off the shelf.
I have a hot take.
Yeah.
I wish the tree was a little bigger.
Monstrous tree like Wonder Book kind of.
So, well, here's the thing. Because I asked, is that the normal tree size? Because I have heard when Everdell first came out, and everybody's like, "Oh, Everdell, it's so amazing," but that tree, this giant tree in the middle of the table, and you can't see over it. Well, yeah, you can't see over it if you're sitting directly behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like we had talked about this in comparison to other games. If everybody's sitting kind of on the sides of it, no problem. I don't feel like the tree's that big. Like I was expecting the tree to be the size of this
the
box.
Yeah.
And it is not.
Yeah.
Not like I was disappointed because the tree is fine. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the people freaking out about the size of the tree is way overdone.
I was just having a slight problem with two things. In a 4-player game, there's a lot of pieces on the top level of that
Uh-huh.
tree,
Yeah,
and
spill
they
over.
get knocked down a bit.
Yeah, they
and
fell
the
a
other
couple
thing
times.
is the tree doesn't lock in to anything. It's just kind of sitting there. So when you're taking,
Okay, that actually is a manufacturer error because this should take these guys off.
well,
real
that's
quick.
not what I was talking
Those
about.
should slide in, but Tim,
Oh,
try
I
to
see.
slide. See that? It should go into the
I see
and
what
it
you're
doesn't
saying.
go in. I
Yeah.
think
Right.
that's like maybe a little
Just needs
product
shaved a
error.
little
Is that
bit.
like wood and not
Yeah.
cardboard?
So in the base game, cardboard, it's that like 3-ply that
Right.
that ends up splitting eventually. This is actual wood, which
Yeah.
is
Tree
very-
made of trees.
Yeah.
But I was more so saying when you draw cards from the deck, the tree just tends to shake a little bit because it's not like locked in. And that just then weighs into the problem of a lot of pieces up top. If those tiny bumps can knock down pieces. Anyway, it's just funny that you've been hearing like this giant tree, and I'm like I kind of wish it was a little bigger. I feel
Yeah,
like it would
sure.
be
Well, I do
more
too.
supportive.
I guess I
and
felt
stuff.
like, we're going to get this gigantic tree out of this thing.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like, well, that's fine.
I will say though, to go to that same thing, it is weird. Like you could do it no problem with this, but it is weird when you think about a board game that you have to play from one side, right? You can't have someone sitting behind the tree like we were saying because it
Yeah.
would block the board.
I do know people
And
who have
there's-
taken away the tree.
Yeah.
I mean, the only purpose
Yeah.
is for it to be a garage of these cards.
Yeah. and you do have this nice reference here for in between
Yeah.
the seasons.
Well,
Yeah.
you could literally just slide it off the board a couple
Yep.
inches onto the table, and it would solve most of the problems
Sure.
too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I have no complaint. I'm assuming these are deluxe editions.
So these are resource containers that I purchased for an extra $20.
Right. It was like an add-on.
So
you're saying.
in the base game, this is what you're doing, and that's why my wife and I said, "Yeah, this is $200. We're gonna spend another 20, and because these
Yeah.
you know what I
quality
mean?
of
They
life.
Now-
literally bounce all over the place.
So in the base game, are the berries like that, or
the
are they
base
little?
game, the berries are actually all the resources in the base game are exactly the
Oh, that's
same
nice.
here. Let's talk about some updates in this game. So the stickers on the characters, there are loads of different. So from all of the expansions, here are all the characters you can choose from. In the base game, you get 4.
Okay.
You get stuck with it's an actual turtle. I think it's geez, I don't even know. It's just like 4 stereotypical woodland creatures.
Sure.
But you get so many to choose from here. Like,
Yeah, we
pick
had
your
spiders,
favorite
cardinals,
color.
frogs, and then you were bees.
Yeah, I was bees. You do not get stickers in the base game. You get stickers with these. It's going to be a lot of work, and a lot of it's very stressful to get just like the antenna from the bees like perfectly
Maybe
right.
don't play as the spiders.
Yeah, the
Their
spiders
stickers are rough.
But they look nice. I mean, once
Yeah.
you throw them on there, they do look nice.
Yes. And this is a quality product. Like I said, the wood.
Yep.
The cards are linen printed.
Yeah, the cards are nice.
Well, it's funny when you
get
say
the
it.
metal coins with the complete edition. The other ones have cardboard.
It's funny in a translated to a non-board game hobby, because like if you're talking about anything else and you say it's nice, the tree is wood, the coins are metal. They're like, those are what those things are normally made out of.
For the course, yeah.
But yeah, it's just funny.
The rule book, you get 2 different rule book. Well, you don't get 2 rule books. You get an archive of information that just explains each and every card, every single card
like
in
an
all of the
extended appendix.
Yes, an extended appendix. This runs 40 pages exactly, front to back, and then you have the gilded book, which covers setup, rules,
Pictures.
And lots of full color pictures,
full color.
examples.
It is gorgeous. Something I regret not buying is it came with a 100, 200 page hardcover book that explains the story of Everdell, because there's an actual story. Look, Tales from the Green Acorn, right on the back.
I built that in.
Nice.
Maybe.
Yeah, and it explains the story of the king of this city and how Everdell came to be. And there's just so much more content from this game. And I mean, for $200, I think it was like the steal of the year in terms of content. Plus, I think they're done making Everdell content, so I think this is the last.
And that's fine too. Put a nice button on it, right?
Yeah.
You know, like not every game needs to always keep having.
You don't need to keep beating it.
Expand. You know, another expansion.
Yeah.
So, is there any, just without going into too much, but while we're talking about components, is there any other major differences between the two, the base game and this game?
So you have the metal coins. I'll leave the resource.
I mean, you
containers
upgraded
out.
that yourself,
Sure.
but that was part of the Kickstarter. So
Yeah.
the resource container.
The solution for storing everything is impressive.
So the original insert, non-existent.
I don't even think there was an insert. If I'm
Just a box, and you.
I think it was no. I think
bagged
you would put things into specific bags. It's honestly leaving me because it's been so long.
Well, if it's not memorable, I guess.
Yeah, it was not memorable, but I don't recall having too many problems with it. But this is just amazing. You have everything in one box. I could see getting clunky bringing this thing around, but man, you are bringing a. Everyone's going to be looking at it. I mean, this thing is the biggest box I own out of my entire collection, at least in terms of area. The thing is just monstrous.
And then I guess for other people, is there, because some games it's like, well, I would never play this without this expansion. Is there that situation in Everdell? Because I found the base game pretty interesting.
Yep.
Not overly complicated or anything like that, but interesting.
So there is an expansion that allows you to refresh the market.
Okay.
Which is
That's nice.
That's a thing you like.
Yes, and that is a weakness that's understandable because a stagnant market sucks.
Yeah.
So they don't recommend
cards here too.
Yes.
So you can get like 4 of the same card in the market.
Well, if you look into that by Dan's right hand, there's a light blue box full of expansion cards, which will decrease the.
Right.
I mean, 4-player game, you are running through the deck. You are getting through the entire deck, almost guaranteed.
We went through most of the deck.
There is an expanse of cards that I didn't include because they were either expansion relevant or they would have added to the complexity of the game in a way that I didn't want to introduce you guys initially. I wanted to give you that Everdell feel. And besides, honestly, yeah, sure, this was flashy, but everything that I introduced to you was the vanilla Everdell.
Right.
And, there's nothing insanely new about Everdell, but it feels good, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I will comment more on that, I think, when we get into our thoughts about it.
Right.
But yeah, no, pretty good.
I want to point out just a couple things for people. We won't go into it right now, but the just for components, the expansions fit around the board. If you've ever seen something like Talisman or Tidal Blades.
So there's modular pieces that you'll place around the board that will.
I also just want to say, toot your horn here a little bit. You mentioned it earlier, so I assume it's good, the rule book. So I was just going to say, first of all, I think you're a really good teacher. Like when it comes to games,
it's almost like you do that for a living.
It's right. It's very. You explain things in the correct order.
Yeah.
Is what I tend to find with you, and that makes things very simple.
Yeah.
But so, did you think that learning it? Like for someone who's never played before, learning it out of the rule book was really well written, good order, stuff like that.
Yes.
Because that's really big for people.
Yes.
We obviously don't need to mention the inserts, which we usually do.
It is a good rule book.
Right.
And they do a good job not going over like they have flavor in the rule book, but at the same time, everything makes sense. Yeah, it sucks to read through it, but that's just for the minutia. You know what I mean? Just special clarifications. Everything else in the game, I mean, you could easily find in the rule book. I mean, right in the very beginning, you've got, this is the archives, but they lay out everything really nicely in the table of contents, especially for the complete edition, where you are going to have to look in the rules because there's so many things that you're going to be, mixing together. So yeah, they do a great job. They did a good job.
And then last thing for everyone looking right now at our table, will that fit in Calyx if it's laying down?
Into what?
Those shelves.
No.
Like that?
No.
Okay, guys, there you go.
It will.
Okay,
It will.
there you go.
It fits.
You're going to put it in like that?
Well, there's going to be people that
laying
want to
down.
fit it on their shelves.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it will
This
fit
is a
if it's laying
monster.
down.
Does this store well standing up like this? Like, it's not like the,
Yeah, so
waterfall,
everything-
the cascade.
Let's not talk about Waterdeep.
Ooh, made that mistake.
Yeah, or Planet Unknown.
Oh,
Could you imagine all of those polyominoes?
Exactly. Exactly.
So everything has a plastic cover on top of it. So even if you lay it vertically, or if you stand it up vertically, these might come out, but everything is
Still
structurally
contained in
it's
the
contained.
in that tray.
They did a great job packaging it. Well done. You took about 10 months longer than you promised, Starling, but
Listen,
That's
forgive
par
you.
for the course
for
now.
Kickstarter, that ain't bad, especially
Kickstarter,
considering
for
everything else going
China,
on.
for like all of the shipping and the all of that stuff that's been going on in the past few years. Not bad. A lot of people were complaining. A lot of people were being
that's the world.
extremely
Rude.
unprofessional and rude. Yes. Hey, how to put it away? Yes.
Please, every designer ever do this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't care if your game has a well. I want one of those.
Yeah, I need
so-
an order of operations as far as putting everything.
It was
back
worth the wait.
No, that's
A
great.
lot of people were complaining like, "Oh, you're not being transparent enough on this Kickstarter. I backed you." It's like, dude, you invested a couple $100s. You are not some major, you're not. Like, I know
Well-
it's a Kickstarter. I know it's crowdfunded, but like, you're kind of a drop in the bucket. Like, it will get there. You are
There's-
not getting ripped off. This is Starling
Right.
Games. You are. They make good stuff. Like,
Sure.
it will get to you. Be patient. It took a while. They kind of promised February.
Oh,
And
well,
here we are in November. But
you
that's
know,
fine.
that's
it's
their error.
normal.
You know, you always under promise, over deliver. But
Yes.
at the same time, everybody should, with every Kickstarter you ever get, add 8 months
Yes.
to
Yeah.
the assumed delivery.
I have at least 4 Kickstarters I was supposed to get early this year that I haven't got yet. Whatever.
I've got ones
it's
that I've been
fine.
waiting on for 3+ years.
Yeah.
Well, and it's hard because they want to promise something that will make people want to jump on it
Right.
because they want to say, "Oh, it'll be out in February." It's like I can
Yeah.
have this by February, but then obviously
Right.
reality
They don't want to
comes
say,
crashing
go
in.
get it sometime in the next 5 years.
Exactly.
Play your other games; it will show up.
You
at
will
your
be
house.
fine. Yeah. Play your other games more than once.
Right.
How about that? And you'll be good.
All right, guys, let's go into final thoughts then.
Sure.
Dan,
Hi.
you're in that seat. I'm going to make you go first.
Trying to think of something Bob would say. I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah, that's all right.
Because he wouldn't say anything. So it's a good worker placement game, and I guess I would call it like a bit of an engine builder too. Like you're trying to get the little thing in front of you with your 15 cards. But yeah, I don't know if it like blew my mind as much as like this is the best worker placement game I've ever played or anything like that. But I thoroughly enjoyed the choices I was making. I like the art. Again, production value means a lot to me. Not that every game needs to be worth $200, but just that it looks like they like cared in the construction of their game, and also it leans to the theme and the atmosphere. That's something that's always really big for me. I like when things are thematic in the production. That's a big benefit for me. Even the stuff that, again, we didn't get into, but the fact that these fit around the board and just make a bigger board. I love when things do that. I love in Talisman where, oh, you want to add the city? It's literally a city board that goes like, that's so thematic and stuff
Adding
to
to
me.
the world.
The table
And
space is
that's-
insane.
Yeah.
But I like that kind of stuff a lot. I like that some of the spots here are random from a deck, right? You're shuffling and you're putting out these ones right here. That's really cool. The game's going to be different there.
I think there's like 60 of them. There's
Yeah,
so many.
That is so cool. The iconography in the game is super solid. Not only is it mostly simple, it's just wood and stone and berries and stuff. But then like the stuff like the worker placements that are infinite and not infinite. Like it's solid iconography going on there, and that's really appreciated. And yeah, at the end of the day, I really enjoyed this game, and I would love to play it again. it's a good worker placement game.
Great, because you're playing it next week.
Well, maybe too soon. Hashtag too soon.
Jesse.
What are my closing final thoughts?
Yeah, what do you think about this game?
Ruins. That's not what it's called. Everdell was fun.
Ruins of Everdell.
We played the basic game, right?
Yes.
That's what we said. Okay.
Besides all the fancy features, you played what people would have bought a few years back.
Would have bought a few years ago.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. More or less just a repeat of what Dan said overall. The game was a very satisfying and simple to learn worker placement game. It was about trying to build combinations of cards with, you're buying off the market, cards you draw, you're trying to build like a combination. The strangest thing about it to me was that it ramps up in a very strange feeling way.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like a stereotypical roller coaster of where it's like a very slow incline and then suddenly there's a steep drop where it's like, oh, it's really hard to get resources. It's really hard to get resources. Suddenly, I have a ton of resources and a ton of things I'm able to do.
There were people entering their third season before I left my first.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it was insane.
That's because a lot of people forget that cards are a resource because playing a card enables you to play other cards.
Right.
So that is like a hidden resource. It's not any tangible resource, but it allows you to take another turn by comboing some two matching cards together.
So your first couple turns are going to look very different depending on if you have drawn any cards that match cards in the market, and being able to play those constructions and being able to play those creatures for free on those constructions is going to save you so many resources. So that's something to consider. I did enjoy it. I like he said, the randomness with the action spaces is really good. I like the fact that there are different action spaces depending on the random setup. And yeah, I mean, the components are very nice. It's a very visually satisfying game as well.
Yeah. I also really like, I don't know how many there are percentage-wise in there, but I like that when he was setting up, Andrew said, stone is really hard to get. And then 3 of the randomized spaces that came out gave you stone.
Yeah. No,
I was
that's
like,
good.
never mind.
Stone is really tough to get.
Yeah.
But all right, I'll go next, and I'll let Andrew do the capper since it's his game. Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised. I kind of came in into this folded arms because it's like, oh, everybody loves Everdell. Who cares? Whatever. And I played it, and I thought, like, not only is it a very nice looking game, I really enjoy the artwork and everything. Obviously, the components are amazing, but even it was nice to know that these base components are still the same, even if you were to buy the regular edition. But I mean, playing this, I had a very good time. I thought all the choices that I had were interesting. I felt like there were definitely multiple sort of avenues for victory because, like, I didn't have a lot of resource generation like some of you guys did, but I was kind of going in a different direction for that. And it still proved to be a viable strategy. Even if I didn't win, if I would have lost by 1 or 2 points, I still would have been in the middle of the pack, right, with everybody else, and it would have been a competitive score. And I didn't, it's not like my strategy was so good I blew everybody out of the water either. So I feel like that there's tons of interesting choices. Again, just the base game. And I'm playing this, and I was thinking about it. I'm listening to you guys talk, and it's like, and this is a big thing for me when I rate games. It's like, well, can I play this with my wife or my in-laws who don't play as many games? Yes. This
is a family game.
This is definitely a family game, but still, and I'm really interested to see what the expansions do because I still felt like crunchy enough to keep someone who's a more veteran gamer, interested, and into it. And so, yeah, I was thinking about those things, and I really like it. Like Seven Wonders, I liked a lot when I first played it early on, and then I played a game called Lost Legends, and that kind of killed Seven Wonders for me.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't like not play it ever again or anything, but I was like, oh, I like Lost Legends more. This doesn't kill Lost Legends because it's different, but at the same time, like, this really just makes sure I don't want to play Seven Wonders. Like, can't we play Everdell or something else instead? And really, the main that thing that makes them more cousins than like direct replacements is the tags.
Right. The fact that there's no drafting in this.
But it's the tags and the way the tags work is the similarity there. But it's just now that there are other games that do that in a way that I find more pleasing. It's like, well, that's fine, but I don't need to go back to that system. I like this system much more. And I was kind of like, we'll see if Everdell's any good. It turns out it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So. But I agree with everything you guys said. Lots of interesting choices. You burn through the deck. That your engine, if I'm not going to get anything done, and then the next thing you know, it's like you're prolonging your turns because you're playing cards.
Every time I show this game to a at least moderate board gamer, they say like, "Okay, I'm moving on to my next season." That was 2 actions.
That was me.
How every single time, and I just say, just wait.
I said something along the lines of, how am I going to get 15 cards out?
Yeah, yeah.
But I ended the game with 15 cards.
Yeah, it's so, and it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm only gonna have 8 cards this time. Like, it always feels like, man, I'm ending with 13 to 15 cards, and it feels good that you can end the game at least with some respect. You know, like
well, again, right? If everybody can play the game, and even if your strategy doesn't work out, but you still feel like you were competitive, awesome. Yeah, you know. So that's my final thoughts. Andrew, go ahead and take it home.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a this is not a game that's, everyone's going to be talking about forever because it's just the most. What?
Nothing.
Dell, you said ever.
Oh, for Everdell. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for interrupting my intro. But this is a solid game. This is a game that is, you can always bring
pun intended, evergreen kind of game.
Yeah, honestly, this is an evergreen game. And it's kind of like with the family. I don't want to bring out some like,
you don't need Mind Clash games every time. Like, I don't need to play Tricerion or Anachrony.
Yeah,
like,
and that's the thing. Like, if I say, hey, family,
hey,
do
wife,
you want to play? Do you want to play like Death Champion Bloodbath game or like Everdell? Like, this is so welcoming to so many different audiences, and the theme is there. The game is fun. It forces you to think. It's kind of competitive. I love blocking spots.
Oh yeah.
Like, I wanted to Ember, and Jesse would not leave that spot, and I was like getting upset. But it's like, cool. There's kind of a little bit of punch in Everdell too. It's not just a family game.
Build the location that lets you copy that.
Exactly. So the pieces are amazing, high quality. This is a game that I will always have because there's so much variability that you can do with all of the expansions. And the base game introductory is just so solid and enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, just to throw one last thing in, because what you just said made me think of it, is this is a game. Now, I don't know that I'll go like hog wild, like complete collection, but like by the end of this game, I'm like, I think I kind of want to have this in my collection. Like, I kind of want to own it to play it. I know, haha, Tim wants to own every game. But I kind of want to own it to be able to play, like, and maybe like when we go on and play the other things, and okay, I want to add that expansion. You know what I mean? And maybe add that expansion.
And they actually don't recommend you play everything. They actually say like it gets way too much.
Sure.
Don't do that.
I wanted to point out, so this game we mentioned earlier has a thing to where you end your season whenever the hell you want. And so I can enter summer while they're still in spring, kind of thing, right? Not brand new. Tapestry does that kind of thing. I just take my income turn and move on whenever I feel like it, and my game can end before anyone else, and I can sit out for 20 minutes if my engine built faster than theirs, right? But something that is fascinating about the way this game does it is that it's a worker placement game, and so your workers stay out until you finish your season. So that's what he was saying earlier, where Jesse was blocking him because he had entered the next season and Jesse hadn't. So Jesse's workers were just sitting there as Jesse was still playing cards and stuff, and they're just taking up space on the board for everyone else who took off their pieces and are ready to go again. That's fascinating.
I love that.
That is a very interesting thing for a worker placement game, that my pieces just stay there until I'm done. Yeah, that's fascinating, but I just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Okay, review, final scores?
Final scores.
Final scores.
Final points.
Final points.
Dan,
Me?
what do we do when we rate a game here at the Board Game Rundown?
Here at the Board Game Rundown, we each give the game a 1 out of 10 rating. We do use 0.5s for variability. Then at the end of our personal scores, we will average them all together so the Board Game Rundown has one singular score we can share on Board Game Geek and Discord.
Also known as the mean.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Teacher.
I don't know math.
Same.
So, Dan, what's your score?
Oh my goodness, back to me. This is a very solid worker placement game with engine building mechanics. Don't know the word I was trying to pull out there. And it's a solid 8.
Jesse.
I agree with everything Dan said with one exception. This is a 7.5 until I play the expansion that lets us flush the market.
Oh,
Okay.
Flush.
I did not have a problem with that in this game, which I almost always do, which is why it didn't affect my score. But I can see.
I did. So 7.5. I'll give it a full point extra when you can refresh the market.
Nice.
Got it. I know what one we're going to play with next time then. Got it.
Yeah, this is an 8 for me. The flushing the market wasn't an issue, but it would be interesting because I think that is counterbalanced by the cards you're able to have in your hand, your private market, and your public market.
Right, you basically have a hand of what is that then?
Up to
How many
8.
is there? Okay.
Yeah, so you can mitigate that a little bit. But anyways, yeah. So a very
I'm
solid
saying
8
it's a
for me.
16 card hand is what I was
Oh
trying
yeah,
to say.
16 card hand. Yeah, well done.
Yeah. So this game introduced one of my favorite mechanics, and that is having a private hand and everyone sharing a public hand. And it almost is like, oh, well, that's just a shop. But I don't know what about this game feels different than other games that have something similar, like a shop. I don't know what it is, but
The fact that when you pay the resources, it just instantly gets built from the market.
yes,
It just
I think
feels
that's
different.
It feels
I think
nice.
That's it.
You're doing with that shop exactly what you're doing with your hand.
Yes.
And so I think that's part of it.
Instead of taking the action to pick it up, or like maybe having to go to a space and pick that card up,
Right.
which is fine for when games do that because
Right.
I get it. It's a thing, but I liked this a lot. I found that very
For
satisfying.
this one, I just like, oh, I have the one stone I need. I'm going to pay that stone, take that. That card is built in front of me instantly. So
Public hand.
Yeah.
So this is an 8.5 for me. It's a
Nice.
solid game. I really enjoy it. And I mean, I'm giving 8.5 for Everdell. This whole collection, it's a beautiful product, and I can't wait to show you guys all of the other things. I'll save you the math there, buddy.
I was
It's
going to
just
double
8.
check you. Okay, I didn't add it all together.
8.
8. Yeah,
8,
total
yeah,
scores 8.
yeah.
That is a very nice,
Yeah.
highly recommendable, score for a game. Also, let me just say, okay, I want to ask you, you waited extra couple of months to get it, boo-hoo. Not that you were complaining, I mean, that's more for everybody that was upset, up in arms, because it happens with Kickstarters.
Get over it.
I think I know your answer, but like, was it worth the wait? Like, you got this big
Oh.
box, everything in there as advertised, what you wanted.
For $200, every single collector's edition into one box and 2 brand new expansions, including a solo mode. It is the deal
Sure.
the biggest steal I think I've ever seen in terms of like Kickstarter crowdfunding, and Starling Games is so generous with like how they help children in need. They have like this big
No, they're monsters. They deliver that Kickstarter late.
my God.
Shame on them.
Yep, shame on them. Forget everything. No, but they're very. I've never really spoken with them, but they're very professional in the way they conduct their business, and they help out people in need. And I mean, they had to have net zero on this.
Oh, sure.
I don't even.
I don't know. Everdell's pretty popular, Like I
True.
feel like it's very popular. Hopefully they made some money off it,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's
I want to
cool.
see more games from them. I mean, War of Whispers, same.
Oh yeah, I
same
friggin' love that
publishers.
game.
I did
this
not realize
game-
that.
Yeah.
That's real good.
That's a
Way better than
fantastic
this.
game.
I'm just kidding.
Oh!
Shut your mouth.
No, fantastic game.
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, thanks for playing. I appreciate you guys.
No, I'm really glad that you pushed it.
Yeah.
Because it would have been very easy for me to dismiss this, and I'm really glad I played it because this was a gap in my gaming experience, and I'm really glad now to have played it because I really liked it quite a
Glad
bit.
I could fill that gap.
So, anyways, guys, anything else before we wrap up?
Bye.
What expansion, if we were to make a Everdell complete collection, video 2, what expansion would you like the board game rundown to
Do
play
next.
next? And
Comment.
Jesse, if you comment, it would probably be the one where the market is flushed.
Correct.
What expansion is that? Do you know the name of it?
It's leaving me right now.
It's the
It's
toilet
leaving me.
expansion.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Where you flush the market.
I think it's Pearlbrook, but I'm not sure. But
Okay,
I'm
sure.
just speculating. What expansion would you like to see us play from the Everdell complete collection? Because I have a feeling we are not done with this box yet.
Yeah,
If I have
I'd
my
definitely
way,
be interested
If I
in
have my
coming
way
back
with
to
this
it.
channel.
Yeah.
You don't.
Okay.
Good try, though.
Yeah.
And this was Andrew's last episode. No, this was great. Thank you for bringing it in and sharing this with us because I'm really glad somebody in our group has this in their collection.
The whole time you were giving final thoughts, I was actually looking at the box and nodding because I couldn't actually even see you over,
Right.
Yeah.
over the box.
Right.
That's what I thought the tree was going to
Just
be.
wanted to be honest.
But yeah, anyways, guys, for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
Jesse.
Dan.
And Andrew.
This has been Everdell, the complete collection. We'll see you next time.
Part